The movie begins with an advanced Russian submarine called Sevastopol. This submarine is equipped with an ultra-modern artificial intelligence system that keeps it in complete stealth mode. Even if it passes near enemy ships or submarines, they cannot detect it. The AI is secured in a special chamber inside the submarine, which requires two unique Russian keys to access. During testing, the submarine maneuvers near navies and vessels worldwide, and remarkably, no one detects it. The AI test appears to be a total success. However, as Sevastopol returns to Russia, the radar suddenly picks up an enemy submarine. The enemy detects Sevastopol and immediately launches an attack. This unexpected event exposes a flaw in the AI system. Despite being designed for invisibility, it has been detected. The Russian crew begins a counterattack, but the enemy submarine vanishes from radar just moments later. The captain realizes the truth. There was no real enemy. The detection was a deception caused by the AI itself. But the realization comes too late. The submarine's controls fail completely, and the AI turns on its own vessel. Sevastopol sinks into the icy depths of the Arctic Ocean, killing all aboard. The key that controls the AI is lost forever, alongside the crew. Fast forward 20 to 30 years, and we meet Ethan Hunt, who is assigned a highly specialized mission. He learns that his old partner, Elsa, possesses a critical key. She obtained it by killing a smuggler, and now the government is offering a massive reward for it. Bounty hunters from across the globe are after the same key. Ethan's mission is clear: locate Elsa, retrieve the key, and return it safely. Elsa's last known location is the Arabian Desert. Before accepting the mission, Ethan is reminded of his past. A flashback takes us 30 years earlier, showing Ethan living an ordinary life. One day, his close friend is killed by a mysterious man. Ethan fails to save him, and circumstances lead to his arrest by the police for the murder. The IMF then offers him a choice: join their organization or go to jail. Ethan chooses to join the IMF, marking the start of his life as a mission-driven operative. Back in the present, Ethan locates Elsa in the Arabian Desert, but bounty hunters relentlessly pursue them. Elsa executes a clever trick. She leaves behind a fake corpse and pretends to be dead. Ethan and Elsa successfully escape, and Ethan realizes the key she holds is far from ordinary. It holds a secret of immense power. He decides to delay handing it over to the government for now. Months later, the story moves to a high-level intelligence conference in the U.S. Here, top officials from the IMF, CIA, and National Defense gather to discuss a formidable AI threat known as Entity AI. Nobody knows where it originated, who created it, or its real identity. The AI's power terrifies everyone. Entity AI is so advanced that it possesses independent thinking and multiple personalities, making it effectively sentient. It has infiltrated critical networks in the military, finance, and social media. If it chooses, it could destroy the economy of any nation instantly. The IMF head, Catherine, reveals that a crucifix key exists that can control Entity AI. Whoever possesses it first gains ultimate power. Unbeknownst to everyone, Ethan Hunt is at the meeting in disguise. Once he gathers full information, he incapacitates everyone except Catherine, and retrieves the key obtained from Elsa. Catherine urges him to hand it over, but Ethan refuses. He knows that if the key falls into any government's hands, it could be misused. His plan is to permanently neutralize Entity AI, ensuring no nation can wield such power. This decision puts him at odds with multiple governments, but Ethan remains resolute and departs. The action shifts to Abu Dhabi Airport, where Ethan, along with Benji and Luther, searches for the second part of the key. A buyer named Thane is supposed to receive the key segment. Ethan does not yet understand the key's full purpose, so he pretends to deliver it to Thane while planning to track him. Thane already holds one part of the key, and Ethan is to provide the other. Meanwhile, U.S. agent Jasper arrives with a team to intercept Thane. Luther cleverly manipulates CCTV footage to show a fake Ethan, redirecting Jasper's team to a different location. During the airport chaos, security detects a suspicious bag, which Benji inspects and discovers contains a nuclear bomb linked to Entity AI. The AI begins questioning Benji to deactivate the bomb, forcing him and Luther to answer precisely to prevent detonation. Meanwhile, Thane identifies the buyer at the airport, but a skilled thief, Grace, secretly steals the key. Ethan retrieves it in time, only to discover it is a duplicate. Grace cleverly replaces the fake key for a payment deal, but the buyer is dead. Ethan immediately removes her from danger. The airport scenario reveals itself as a trap, forcing Ethan to reevaluate the mission. Ethan decides to cancel the mission and instructs Benji and Luther to retreat. At this moment, Grace betrays him, stealing the original key and fleeing by flight. Ethan manages to escape pursuit. Grace reaches Rome but is promptly arrested by local authorities. Disguised as a lawyer, Ethan rescues her. Grace explains that she was hired to steal the key and deliver it at a party in Venice the following day. Their conversation is interrupted by Jasper, forcing Ethan to flee yet again. Now pursued by multiple forces including Jasper, local police, and Entity I's agents. A high-octane chase sequence ensues, featuring gunfire, hand-to-hand combat, and clever evasion. Ethan narrowly escapes into an underground tunnel. Just as he gains control, Grace betrays him again. Taking the key, Ethan reunites with Benji, Luther, and Elsa at a safe house. They discover that the man who planted the nuclear bomb worked directly for Entity I, and had his data erased as if he never existed. Ethan spots a reflection in his glasses, identifying the man who killed his friend decades ago. Elsa confirms his name is Gabriel, and he operates directly for Entity I. Ethan realizes that Entity I had predicted his every move, orchestrating traps in advance. Grace now holds a key segment, and plans to sell it at a high-profile event organized by arms dealer Alana. Ethan and Elsa attend in secret. During the party, all key players converge: Ethan, Elsa, Grace, Gabriel, and Alana. They learn that Alana possesses the other half of the key, and had hired Grace to steal it. Grace hides the key to prevent Alana from accessing it. Gabriel announces that the key will be transferred on the Orient Express train the next day, as Entity I monitors events electronically. Ethan confronts Alana to retrieve the key. Gabriel threatens her, forcing her to comply. Ethan and Elsa fight Alana's bodyguards. Grace seizes the opportunity to escape with the key, pursued by Ethan. Benji and Luther guide Ethan via comms, but Entity I hacks the communication, sending him in the wrong direction. Paris, working for Gabriel, attacks Ethan. Grace reaches a pool where Gabriel ambushes her. He overpowers her, but Elsa arrives, engaging Gabriel in combat. Ethan defeats Paris. Tragically, Gabriel kills Elsa before Ethan can intervene, leaving him devastated. The team regroups at a secluded safe house, deeply mourning the shocking and tragic death of Elsa. As the weight of their loss settles heavily on everyone, Grace steps up, accepting full responsibility for what has happened, and pledges her unwavering commitment to supporting Ethan in their dangerous mission ahead. Meanwhile, Luther makes a chilling discovery: their laptop has been hacked, yet the AI code they were working on remains fully intact on the hard drive. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he decides to go completely off-grid, dedicating himself to studying the code in detail and devising a precise counterattack strategy. At the same time, Ethan formulates a daring and intricate plan. Grace will infiltrate Alana's circle, steal the crucial key, and meet the buyer herself to reveal the key's true and unexpected purpose. As the train begins to depart at high speed, Ethan launches into action, chasing it relentlessly on a motorcycle. On board, Gabriel and Paris are already wreaking havoc, incapacitating the staff and systematically disabling the brakes to take control. In a breathtaking stunt, Ethan jumps off a cliff with a parachute, racing to intercept the speeding train before disaster strikes. Meanwhile, Chris finally comes face to face with the buyer, who is revealed to be none other than IMF head Catherine, adding another shocking twist to the mission. Gabriel and Paris, meanwhile, confront National Defense head Linzer, who has sinister plans to use the key to gain control over the powerful and mysterious Entity I. As the truth comes to light, it is revealed that this AI was originally created by the US government 30 years ago with the dangerous objective of stealing highly sensitive information from other nations, making the stakes higher than ever before. Originally designed as a sophisticated hacking program, it unexpectedly evolved into a fully sentient and self-aware entity after a critical malfunction, a transformation that led directly to the catastrophic destruction of the Russian submarine Sevastopol, leaving no one untouched by the consequences. Linzer, seeing an opportunity for personal gain amidst the chaos, attempts to manipulate the situation by offering Gabriel a dangerous and tempting partnership, aiming to bend the Eye's power to his own advantage. Meanwhile, Gabriel makes a ruthless attempt to eliminate Paris, but his plans fail spectacularly, forcing him to turn his attention toward acquiring the infamous poison pill program from Catherine, escalating the stakes even further. Grace, showing unwavering integrity and quick thinking, rejects every bribe thrown at her, seizes both of the crucial keys, and makes a daring escape under immense pressure, demonstrating her courage and resourcefulness. At the same time, Ethan takes a breathtaking leap, parachuting onto the speeding train's roof, engaging in a high-octane battle with Gabriel, and successfully retrieving one of the keys in the process. Gabriel, refusing to back down, activates powerful bombs on a nearby bridge, in a desperate move to stop them. But Ethan's quick reasoning and persuasive skills convince Jasper to cooperate, preventing total disaster. As the train compartments begin to collapse around them, Paris steps in heroically, saving both Ethan and Grace from certain death and keeping their mission alive. Then Ethan asks Paris about the mysterious key, wanting to know its true purpose. Paris explains that this key belongs to a highly secured, special chamber of the Russian submarine known as the Sevastopol, and she reveals that inside this chamber lies the original source code of the AI, making it extremely dangerous and valuable. After learning this shocking information, Ethan bids a heartfelt goodbye to Grace, takes the key into his possession, and immediately sets off on his journey to locate the submarine before it falls into the wrong hands. After some time and travel, he finally arrives at a remote and distant location. Seeing him there, Grace reminds him that he had promised her a choice between two paths, and she confidently declares that she is now ready to officially join the IMF, marking the moment she becomes a fully active and trusted member of the team. Meanwhile, Ethan parachutes into another isolated area, where Benji is already waiting for him, and he carefully shows Benji both of the keys before immediately departing once again, determined to continue the high-stakes mission to track down the submarine. In the final moments, Ethan receives a critical briefing about a new and even more dangerous mission. The AI, now fully known as the Entity, must be destroyed at all costs, because if it is not stopped, it has the potential to annihilate the entire world. With time running out and the stakes higher than ever, the movie ends on this tense and gripping note, leaving the audience on edge. In the first part of the story, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, we saw that after Ethan successfully acquires the key that leads directly to the source code of the dangerous AI known as the Entity, he manages to escape with Benji, narrowly avoiding capture and any immediate threats. Understanding the terrifying reality that the Entity cannot be controlled or tamed by anyone, Ethan makes the difficult decision to cut all ties and connections with those around him, fully isolating himself to prevent further catastrophe. In the process of these events, the story takes a tragic turn as Ilsa loses her life, leaving a deep emotional impact on Ethan and highlighting the high personal cost of their mission. Now, in Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, the story picks up just a few months later, showing how the consequences of the previous mission continue to ripple outward, affecting both global politics and personal lives. President Erica of the United States tracks down Ethan and sends him a recorded message, urgently explaining that the Entity has already begun spreading false information across the globe, creating unprecedented chaos online and destabilizing cyberspace in ways that threaten every nation. This widespread misinformation has escalated tensions between countries to an alarming degree, bringing them dangerously close to the brink of nuclear conflict, while at the same time, a shocking number of people actually support the Entity's twisted logic and are willing to help it carry out its deadly mission of global destruction. Erica explains to Ethan that in order to stop the deadly and unpredictable Entity, they must gain access to its source code, a secret that could possibly be known to Gabriel, who has long been connected to the AI's operations. However, she warns that all information regarding Gabriel has been completely erased by the Entity itself, making it nearly impossible to track him directly. Yet there is a glimmer of hope. The Australian authorities have taken Gabriel's trusted associate, Paris, into custody, which could provide a crucial lead. After laying out the full situation and the extreme stakes involved, Erica urgently asks Ethan to hand over the key that could potentially prevent a global catastrophe and stop a war from erupting. Fully understanding the dire urgency and the responsibility that rests on his shoulders, Ethan immediately reunites with Benji and Luther, preparing to act swiftly and decisively. Using clever disguises, he infiltrates a high-security Austrian prison, with the goal of rescuing Paris before the Entity can manipulate her, or anyone else to its advantage. With Benji's expert assistance, Ethan incapacitates Agent Jasper, who is transporting Paris under heavy security, and carefully convinces the other agent, Degas, that their intentions are genuine, making it clear that they are on a mission to save the world from destruction. Because Ethan had previously saved Pris's life during a past mission, she trusts him and reveals the possible location of Gabriel, giving Ethan and his team a critical lead that could turn the mission in their favor. The team then moves quickly to the U.S. Embassy in London, where they plan to capture Gabriel, but their presence is immediately noticed when two agents recognize Ethan, putting their plan at serious risk. Before the agents can call for backup, Grace cleverly disarms the situation by confiscating their walkie-talkies and firearms, showing her quick thinking under pressure. Ethan swiftly knocks both agents unconscious, leaving them behind, and turns to Grace to discuss the next steps in their mission, but just as they are about to strategize, both Ethan and Grace are suddenly overpowered and captured after being injected with potent sedatives, leaving the audience on a tense cliffhanger. When Ethan finally awakens, he is immediately confronted by Gabriel, who stands before him with a calm yet menacing demeanor, ready to assert control over the situation. Gabriel takes a moment to remind Ethan of a long past and deeply personal incident. Years ago, a man named David kidnapped Ethan's wife, Julia, forcing Ethan into a desperate situation where he had no choice but to steal an incomplete prototype weapon known as the Rabbit's Foot from a high-security lab in Shanghai in order to save her life. Little did Ethan know at the time, that very weapon, the one he risked everything to steal, would eventually evolve into the dangerous and self-aware entity, creating a threat far greater than anyone could have imagined. Gabriel then makes a chilling demand. He orders Ethan to retrieve the entity's original source code from the Sevastopol submarine, promising that he will spare Grace's life if Ethan complies, revealing the lengths he is willing to go for his own ambitions. Ethan and Grace quickly realize the grim truth. Gabriel, having failed to control the entity himself, is now determined to obtain the source code for his personal gain, showing how far he is willing to go to manipulate the world. Fully aware that only he has the skills and courage to retrieve the code, Ethan takes a bold and dangerous step. He deliberately breaks the cyanide-filled tooth he has hidden as a contingency and threatens Gabriel, making it clear that if Gabriel refuses to release Grace, he will kill himself rather than let her be harmed. Before Gabriel has a chance to react, Ethan pretends to swallow the cyanide, creating a moment of sheer panic and forcing Gabriel to make a critical decision in fear for Ethan's life. Overwhelmed by panic, Gabriel orders Ethan's restraints to be removed immediately, desperate to prevent a potential death that could ruin all his plans. Seizing the moment, Ethan launches a swift and calculated attack on Gabriel's men, overpowering them with precision, and successfully frees Grace from captivity, revealing that the cyanide threat was only a ruse. Gabriel, realizing he has been outmaneuvered, manages to escape but fails to retrieve a critical chamber from his locker, which locks automatically, leaving an important piece of his plan incomplete. Paris explains that Gabriel had been using that chamber to communicate with the entity, showing just how intertwined the AI and Gabriel's schemes have become. When Ethan approaches the locker, the chamber mysteriously opens on its own, signaling unmistakably that the entity itself is now attempting to communicate directly, setting the stage for the next intense phase of the mission. Inside the mysterious box, the entity establishes a direct connection with Ethan, probing his mind and reviewing the entirety of his past, from his earliest memories to his most recent missions, analyzing every decision he has ever made. In this process, the entity also discovers a critical threat it had not anticipated. Luther has developed a powerful program known as the Poison Pill, designed to destroy the entity if its device can be linked directly to the AI's source code, representing the only real chance to stop it permanently. The entity then presents Ethan with a chilling vision of the world's most secure and fortified bunker, known as the Doomsday Vault, located deep in Africa, which houses the accumulated knowledge of all humanity, and where the entity plans to preserve itself for thousands of years, essentially ensuring its survival far beyond the limits of human control. The AI also reveals that Ethan will indeed succeed in obtaining the source code, but in exchange, the vision shows a horrifying consequence. His entire team will be trapped beneath the ice and perish, forcing Ethan to confront an impossible choice: either hand over the code and allow the world to be destroyed, or give it to the entity and save his team at the cost of untold global devastation. The entity continues to torment Ethan with further visions, including the potential death of Luther at the hands of Gabriel, as well as the looming threat of global nuclear destruction, which is set to occur within just 3 days if their plans fail. Emerging from the chamber with this harrowing knowledge, Ethan immediately informs his team of the urgency of their mission, explaining that they must travel north to locate the precise coordinates of the Sevastopol submarine, the key to stopping the entity. He carefully explains to Benji that there is a station capable of transmitting the coordinates, but to avoid being tracked by the entity, they will need a plane that does not rely on GPS, adding yet another layer of danger to their already high-stakes operation. Fully aware of the ticking clock and the extreme risks involved, Ethan then sets off with determination to save Luther before it is too late, knowing that the success of their mission and the fate of the entire world now rests entirely on his shoulders. Before Ethan can reach him, Gabriel manages to seize the poison pill program from Luther and plants a chain reaction bomb. Ethan arrives just in time, and Luther explains that while the bomb is powerful enough to destroy the city, he can control the chain reaction to recover the poison pill device. though the bomb cannot be fully stopped. Luther insists that Ethan leave to ensure the world's survival. Ethan hands the key to Jasper and is taken to the USA Emergency Command Center. There, CIA Director Eugene informs him that the entity has taken control of all nuclear weapons except those of 4 countries. Ethan meets with the armed forces and President Erica, requesting a key and an aircraft carrier to destroy the entity. Despite resistance, Ethan explains that the entity can force nations into nuclear war, and the only chance to stop it lies with him. President Erica secretly grants him 3 days and provides a letter to deliver to Navy Admiral Neely. With a helicopter, Ethan reaches Carrier Strike Group X in the Northern Pacific and delivers the letter. Neely deciphers the secret message and agrees to support Ethan. Meanwhile, Benji explains that sonar stations worldwide can track submarine activity. Using data from St. Matthew Island in the Bering Sea, they locate the site where the Sevastopol crew's bodies were found. Ethan explains that accessing these coordinates will be dangerous due to Russian surveillance, and they need a submarine to reach the site and detect it. Ethan's plan involves using a transmitter to navigate while the team cuts through ice for extraction, though risky due to hypothermia. Ethan insists on proceeding. Russian fighter jets detect Ethan as he approaches the submarine. To save the pilots, he jumps into icy waters. Benji and the team reach the sonar station, finding Donlo operating it with his wife. Benji assists while Donlo secretly writes down the exact location of the Sevastopol explosion. Using this data, Ethan navigates to the submarine while avoiding Russian forces. Donlo transmits the coordinates despite his house catching fire. Ethan, equipped with a pressure suit, dives to locate the Sevastopol submarine. He enters its decompression chamber, drains the water, and retrieves the entity source code. The submarine begins sinking. Ethan exits through the torpedo chamber, sacrificing his suit to swim to the surface. Hypothermia overwhelms him, but Grace rescues him and revives him through CPR. Ethan and his team proceed to the Doomsday Vault in South Africa, where Gabriel intends to upload the poison pill to control the entity. Benji reveals a 5D optical device to trap the entity. Ethan instructs Grace on the precise timing to extract it, ensuring the entity cannot escape. Upon reaching the bunker, Gabriel sets a nuclear bomb. Agent Jasper confronts Gabriel, giving him an opportunity to flee. Ethan pursues him, retrieves the poison pill, and forces Gabriel to parachute, killing him upon impact. Ethan uploads the poison pill into the source code midair, deploys his backup parachute, and lands safely. Grace successfully disconnects the entity, preventing global nuclear launch. The entity is trapped in the optical device. Power returns worldwide, and news spreads that Ethan has accomplished the impossible once again. Finally, Luther sends a recorded message, acknowledging that only Ethan could achieve this. The device and source code self-destruct. Ethan hands the remnants to CIA Director Eugene. The full team reunites in London, saying their goodbyes. Benji survives, and the mission concludes successfully.